Hello and welcome to my second episode of the Occupational Upgrade, my Brave New World series. I've gotten all the basic sets and adopted a few more duplicates. I have 7 now. You also see that I kept the stress factor low and immune systems high. Now I haven't gotten a sick bay up yet, but I'll get back to that later. Now this is a point where I have all the basic needs met, but no long-term solutions. If you look at my base, I took precaution against stress really early, and the reason is I thought it would be a big problem because as you advance the positions here in the job, the pro is of course they work faster, right? So they build faster, they carry better, etc. But the con is they get higher food and decor expectations, which means stress will be a factor. So what I did was taking precautions about that very early, get art up very early to get really good decor, and get the rooms up very early to get the mess hall, the barracks, the latrine and everything in place. So I see that I might even have done that more than actually was needed. Now, with the basic systems met, I mean that they have their food, they have toilets up, they have a way to clean themselves, they have sinks up, they have oxygen flowing, they have everything they needed, and food of course in the short term. But I haven't taken care of any long-term issues. For example, part of the food right now relies on them actually having dirt for the microbe musher. I have no way yet of taking care of the polluted water, so it will slowly build up here. I'm also running out of water. Now, of course, I could pump in some of the geyser water here, but then I would need cooling of that water. So the long term is not really set yet, just a short-term solution. This is normally, I wouldn't be so lucky of actually having a geyser here or a natural gas geyser here. But this is normally even before the occupational upgrade, this is normally where I usually kind of consolidated the colony and started exploring, because you got kind of a long window before you actually have to take care of any long-term effects. So this will be kind of sustainable for quite a few cycles. So you can take the time here to explore outwards, looking for gases, looking for cold zone, looking for weak spots, looking for nullifiers that you use to kind of reduce heat, everything like that. So what I do at this point, and would have done previously as well, is actually taking a break on adopting more duplicates. Maybe I'll adopt one more, but not more than that. And the reason for that is pretty much, if you look at, for example, the electrolyzer, right? The electrolyzer can output 888 grams per second of oxygen. That's enough for roughly 8 or 9 duplicates, right? Because they consume 100 grams per second. Meaning if you have more than that, you actually need to double up on the electrolyzers. If you double up on the electrolyzers, these pumps won't do, so you need more pumps, because each pump can only pump 500 grams of oxygen. If you have more pumps, well, a gas pipe can only carry 1000 grams or 1 kilo of gas, meaning you need more gas pipes, you need more gas filters, which means you need more electricity, which means you need more power plants. Everything scales up. So once I have the needs met for a first batch of duplicates, kind of filling out what I need for the first what I can pressure out of the first machines. I mean, the only energy production I have is pretty much this single coal plant and this hydrogen generator, going from the excess hydrogen from the oxygen production. That's usually when I kind of start exploring instead. And then I can always go back to adopting more duplicates when I get larger system sets. But the problem is, if I do it right away, what happens is that all those external effects will be scaling up a lot. So we'll get a lot shorter window to actually take care of them as well. Now that could be nice for a challenge, but if you're new to the game, I would actually recommend kind of slowing down at the stage where you actually have all the basic systems met and all the basic systems maxed out. And it is somewhat here. I could probably sustain 7 duplicates from the micro musher only, but I want some bristle blossom seeds to be able to grow a big bristle blossom farm later on. But the micro musher also, even with a chef working it in the job system, seems to kind of be strained already at about 7 duplicants. So that's why I actually added these, because I was running low on food despite having one duplicant constantly working in the micro musher. So my goal right now, once I got all the basics up, is pretty much to get bigger system in works, as well as discover everything I need for those system for kind of midterm solutions. Not the sustainable long-term solutions, but rather midterm solutions. For example, starting to take care of the wastewater, that if I filter it, it will produce gems. If I boil it, it will produce heat, and then I need ways to take care of that. So I'm gonna start with those things before growing the colony, because right now I'm not gonna do it as a challenge, but rather kind of try to show how you as a new player can do to not make it too hard for yourself. One thing that is worth noting with the jobs is that, for example, miner, you actually need to advance them to at least minor to be able to dig through certain materials. For example, absolute, you can't dig through it unless you actually upgrade it to a miner. It's not enough with apprentice miner. However, for example, for research, you don't actually need to upgrade the research assistance. You can to research faster if you can handle the stress, but you don't need it to burn through the research tree. It seems, at least, unless you actually will need it for these 4 last. I can't know yet about that, but I mean, I did research smelting without having an upgraded research assistant to research it. So you can probably do the whole tech tree without ever changing this. And you also burn through the text pretty fast. I mean, I still have some way to go, but I mean, she researched a lot faster, or my research assistant researched a lot faster through the tech tree than I can actually build and construct things. So hopefully I'll just finish all the research and then switch the research assistant to something useful like digging or building, or operating for that matter. I think that I'm sure I'm a bit sorry for not having too much gameplay here, but I wanted to kind of give an image of where I am and how I think when I construct a colony, and also some helpful tips about why you shouldn't really rush it too much in the beginning, because that usually creates more problems for yourself than it solves. For example, disease. Before you can actually combat disease, it's not really advisable to start filtering water. You have to be really careful. The best way to combat disease is to not get it in the first place, right? So there's the same thing about like being a bit careful digging through the slime zones, because there's a lot of let's see here if we have the gems button somewhere here. There's a lot of gems in this zone. So if you have duplicants, if you see this one starting to tick down, usually for the duplicant working in here, you just take a break on working on that area and work on some other area. So the best way to combat disease is not to get it in the first place. So yeah, I think that's it for now. In the next episode I will start working more properly on the midterm solutions. Also hopefully have done a lot more exploration. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Cheers.